Wrdw.com. Tune in Tuesdays and Thursdays at 5 to see if you're a winner.
You're watching News 12 on your side.
From the station that's on your side, this is News 12 at 6 o'clock.
Questions swirling around the McDuffie County bus vandalism. We're breaking down what we know so far coming up.
Plus, we're on your side with what you need to know ahead of a power bill hike coming this summer. But first up, going to give you a live look outside our studios where you can see the wind has been whipping all afternoon.
Yeah, Chief Meteorologist Riley Hale has issued a first alert, and we've seen some rough weather to the west of us that's heading our way. Riley, what can you tell us?
Yeah, so the good news to report right now is that there's no active watches or warnings in effect right now for the CSRA. Those are all north of us, and the line that we are tracking that moved through metro Atlanta just a little bit ago has been producing severe weather so far this afternoon, but luckily that threat is waning. It is starting to enter an environment that's a little bit less conducive to see severe weather. The big impact we've seen so far today has definitely been the wind. Those wind gusts have been up to around 40 miles an hour in a few spots. It has led to some trees coming down across the area, so that's even without the storms arriving just yet, which is why we do have the wind advisory that will stay in effect through around midnight tonight for most of the area. So just be mindful that even though you may not see a severe thunderstorm, those wind gusts are enough to bring down some weaker trees. Here's a live look at Doppler Max radar. Highlighted yellow is a tornado watch that is just outside of the CSRA, bordering some of our northern counties. Right now, there is only one active severe thunderstorm warning with this line. It's up towards Lake Hartwell. So that line that you're seeing now getting a little bit south of I-85, closer to Locust Grove, that's what's going to be moving in later into this evening for us. It's very skinny, so it's not going to impact you for a long amount of time, but could bring you some brief heavy rain, say between now and up until midnight tonight across the CSRA. Quickly moving east of us, though, once we get past the midnight hour. We'll have a full update for you coming up again in just about 10 minutes.
There are still a lot of questions surrounding the damage of several school buses and other items on school property in McDuffie County. Columbia County is loaning buses to get kids to and from school, but how long until they're able to get those buses fixed?
And then there's the criminal investigation into the vandalism itself. News 12's Nick Veal in Thompson for us tonight, working to find some answers.
Columbia County school buses in the McDuffie County transportation lot. 15 are here to get things back to normal after 23 were vandalized on Thursday. Buses are back in full force in McDuffie, not after an unexpected vandalism took place, causing disruptions for bus routes yesterday.
Real crazy.
Thompson graduate James Ingram says that this was his reaction to hearing the news. The county spokesperson says that the incident report from what happened won't be ready until the middle of next week. They also say they cannot release the suspect students' disciplinary records according to Georgia state law. Now the county has to rely on Columbia County buses, and that's something James is grateful for.
That's really nice of them, I guess, to jump in. I mean, I know a lot of people in Columbia County. I go to church in Columbia County, so it's really helpful for them to come in and help us out and all that sort.
Parents also told me they had no issues throughout the day and routes operated per usual. Moving forward, the price tag for a county this size is what's worrying those like James.
I mean, we're not the richest city in the world, so it's just, real crazy. And just one kid dealing with all that destruction and damage is really crazy as well.
And the school district spokesperson says we won't know the total amount of damage until that incident report does come out. And again, we won't know those details until the middle of next week. In Thompson, Nick Vealand on your side.
Also tonight, less than 24 hours after Alec Murdaugh was found guilty, the judge today is sentencing him to life in prison without parole.
Murdaugh was convicted of killing his wife Maggie and their son Paul in June of 2021.
And he may be taken away.
He took the stand last week in his own defense, claiming he found the bodies of his wife and son after returning from a brief visit to his sick mother that night. Even today, he still maintained his innocence.
I would never, under any circumstances, hurt my wife Maggie, and I would never, under any circumstances, hurt my son Paul.
And it might not have been you. It might have been the monster you become when you take 15, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 opioid pills. Maybe you become another person.
After 28 days, the jury took just under 3 hours before before coming back with that guilty verdict. After the sentencing, Murdoch's lawyers held a news conference about the trial and the jury's decision.
The lead defense attorney and State Senator Dick Harpootlian said they would not issue a statement, but they did take questions from reporters.
So it was about character. It wasn't about motive. So as a result, our options were limited. He had to take the stand to explain the kennel video, the lie, if you will. He had to, but he had no his credibility had been stripped away by the financial misdeeds.
Murdoch's lawyers say they do plan to appeal the verdict in 10 days.
Here in Augusta, another oversized truck hit the Olive Road Bridge this afternoon. You can see where that U-Haul hit the infamous train overpass. Officials say it happened just before noon today. The last time this happened, we asked the city's director of traffic engineering about ways to stop drivers from running into that bridge.
There's a beam set there right in the front that protects the structure on both sides, and there are, of course, several signs posted trying to get drivers' attention to slow down. Also today, the Richmond County District Attorney's Office says bond is denied for the couple charged in the death of their 6-month-old child last fall. Selena Tyler and Tyrone Scott arrested after the coroner ruled that baby's death suspicious. 6-month-old Samson Scott died February 13th, 2022 at AU Health. The Richmond County coroner says there were signs the child had been neglected. The two parents had been arrested before, back in 2020. Then they were charged with murdering their first child, but those charges were eventually dropped.
New information tonight about an officer-involved shooting in Aiken County. SLED says that shooting started as a traffic stop that turned into a car chase. The shooting happened near the intersection of Sizemore Avenue and Main Street in New Ellenton. Authorities say 36-year-old Brandon Williams was arrested. They booked him into the Aiken County Detention Center. He's charged with failure to stop for blue lights and unlawful carrying of a pistol. Heads up, Georgia Power customers, you can expect your bill to go up soon, and it wasn't that long ago delays at Plant Vogel prompted another hike. News 12's Taylor Martin talked to the power company to find out what's behind the jump in price this time.
Turning on your lights is about to cost you nearly $23 more per month. Georgia Power says rising fuel prices are to blame, but one question still remains. What about the customers? Deborah Thompson has been a Georgia Power customer for more than 17 years. Ever since her husband passed, she's had to pay more attention to her finances, which includes her monthly Georgia Power bill.
Being a widow and everything, and on a fixed income, you are, concerned about your budget.
She says a constantly fluctuating electricity bill makes it more difficult for her to budget.
Especially if it's more than what I'm used to paying. So that means it's taken away from another bill that those few dollars were supposed to go towards.
John Kraft with Georgia Power tells me the upcoming price hike isn't a decision made lightly, but with the customer in mind. He tells me instead of a 2-year time period to recover from rising fuel costs, the company asked the Public Service Commission to make that 3 years, saving customers $7 per month. On top of that, he says the company regularly offers customers assistance with their bills.
And we work to connect customers with assistance agencies across the state. Project Share with the Salvation Army, we've been involved with that for decades.
Customers like Deborah just hope the price increase won't hurt their wallets too badly.
It has been a concern, I think about it, and I've already said to myself that if I had to make changes, I would.
This price increase won't go into effect for another 3 months after the Public Service Commission makes a decision on how much your bill will rise. Reporting in Augusta, Taylor Martin, on your side.
Taylor, thanks. The Georgia Highway Patrol is looking for more troopers to help patrol the roads all across the state. I had the chance to sit down with GSP Trooper Ben Clark. He's also a veteran who says working for State Patrol was a good fit for him after his time in the military. Are you saying that State Patrol is a good direction for former military?
Absolutely. We encourage. They're already coming out with strong discipline, and they're looking for that esprit de corps, if you will, and that camaraderie. So we can definitely satisfy those things.
You can watch my full interview coming up this weekend on News 12 this morning. That's going to air Sunday morning, and then on our website and app after that.
Coming up, kids celebrate their favorite books and characters with a parade through the school. How it encourages fellow students to start reading.
And it has been a windy afternoon for us. We've seen wind gusts close to 40 miles an hour in a few spots. A couple of trees have already come down across the region. We'll have another update on that forecast for you just after a quick break.
Diamond, the only brand with real honey and elderberry.
All right, folks, welcome back. We are going to take a look at some pictures that have been sent in so far this afternoon. We're learning about some storm damage around Augusta. These are pictures sent in to us showing a tree down on Green Meadows Drive and Eagle Drive. So that's in Augusta, kind of where the old Green Meadows Golf Club is, kind of on the south side of town. You can see it's a pretty decent-sized tree, so a heads up. Trees are coming down across the region. We've actually had another report of a tree down in Aiken County, kind of near Burnett Town. So if you are seeing this type of damage across the area, you can send us pictures through our weather app and our news app, or you can submit them online through our website. So this is a great way to just kind of get some ground truth from the gusty conditions we are seeing on weather observations, and that does look like a pretty decent-sized tree right there. We haven't even seen the storms yet. That line of storms is just now getting close to Athens, going to be moving east for the rest of this evening into tonight. Most likely going to time out, reaching us here in the western CS area as we head past around 7 o'clock, getting closer towards us here in Augusta between 8 and 9, and then finally moving completely east of the region once we get a little bit closer towards midnight. Now, the good news to report for us here locally is that we do not have any active warnings or watches in place. The tornado watch is just north of the CS area, in effect for North Georgia, the upstate, and portions of western North Carolina. So that's where the ingredients will be highest for the rest of this evening of some stronger storms. And that's pretty much represented in our severe weather outlook. So the further south you go, the less of a severe weather threat there is for you. And that does include most of the CS area. We're underneath a marginal risk, so still can't technically say that our percentage chance is 0 of seeing severe storms, but it does look relatively lower compared to our neighbors north and west of us. Here's a look ahead to later tonight. So I would say by around 7, 8 p.m., this line is now starting to reach the northern and western CS area, getting closer towards us here in Augusta as we head past the 8, 9 o'clock hour. And then once we get to around midnight, that is starting to move completely east of the region. As this line is moving through, and even before it, our winds are going to be gusting anywhere from 35, 45 miles per hour. Here's a current look at what our winds are doing at the moment. Sustained over 20 and gusts over 30 for Aiken. For us here in Augusta, our winds are gusting over 30. They've been as high as 38 and 37 between Aiken and Augusta so far today. And winds will likely increase as this front does get closer. Those storms start to approach from the west. They'll likely increase, and we'll see those wind gusts potentially as high as 40 to 45 miles an hour at times, which is why we do have the wind advisory in effect. The wind advisory does stay in effect across the entire CS area through around midnight tonight, so those winds are not going to calm down anytime soon for us until we get to the weekend. Still a little bit breezy during the day Saturday, but nothing as windy as what we've seen so far today. Temperatures will be very comfortable Saturday and Sunday. Just a little bit cooler Sunday morning. We could see a few spots briefly touch the upper 30s for the first part of the morning. Now, the weekend forecast for high temps here in Augusta, mid-70s tomorrow. A little bit cooler on Sunday, not by much, though. We should still continue to see some gorgeous conditions both days this weekend. Jumping ahead to next week, we're looking at temps to stay in the 70s and 80s Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. By this time next week, it does look to cool off a little bit with high temps only in the 60s next Thursday and Friday.
All right, thanks, Riley. From Willy Wonka to Cat in the Hat, students at Belvedere Elementary celebrated reading by dressing up as their favorite book character today.
This looks like a lot of fun. News 12's Will Vogt gives us a closer look at their annual book character parade.
Look at this place.
Everybody looks forward to this day every year.
The whole school filled the halls to end Read Across America Week with a bang. Librarian Amelia Clark led the parade.
Every student and every classroom got to dress up. That's one of the wonderful things about Belvedere. Our teachers ensure that all of our children get to participate.
You can see how much the kids are enjoying it. Each class picked a book for their theme. These students are ready for a chance of meatballs. Oompa Loompa Doopity Doo. Here are some kids who love this day too. And the teachers weren't afraid to dress up either.
They helped with their costumes, and whether it be just a headband or a hat or different things that were needed for the parade, everybody in the entire building had the opportunity to participate.
This entire building is full of people having a good time. After all, it's not like you get to do this every day.
It was enjoyable. I love to see the smile on the kids' faces. It's just an enjoyable day for them to be able to spend time with their friends and to celebrate books and reading.
In Belvedere, we'll vote on your side.
Clark says they had more than 100 people visit the school this week to read to students. Just a great way to spark a love of reading.
Yeah.
Take you so far.
Reading's an adventure, and there's no better proof than that parade right there. And nobody happier in the whole school than the librarian, who's pushing the
Loves
books
it.
out. Absolutely loves it. Okay, now the Josie Lady Eagles flying high these days, one win away from state. Dan helps us get ready for Josie's win or go home state semifinal next in sports.
And some different career advice, students learning the importance of smart dress, a firm handshake, all those soft interview skills, how little competition is helping them learn them.
Or call 800-992-2465. Call now.
It's Career Week at Heritage Academy in Augusta, and today they wrapped up with a job prep competition. The goal here is to push kids to develop the life skills needed to get a job and handle some other professional settings. The school also brought in local professionals to be the judges.
This is a fantastic idea. News12's Hallie Turner stopped by to find out how the event turned out and meet the kids working on developing those skills.
When it comes down to it, nailing a job interview isn't all about experience. It's working to make sure the first impression is a lasting impression. In order to win today's competition here at Heritage Academy, students have to shake it up in order to check all of the boxes.
Everybody was in there panicking, like, I don't want to look bad, I'm a stutter, all this type of stuff. Everybody was just kind of all over the place.
Michaela Kennedy says she's been preparing for weeks.
I've been asking people for advice, strategies I can use, because getting around a lot of people and getting to know a lot of people is kind of anxious to me, and I don't know if I'll slip up or anything.
She's talking about preparing for Heritage Shakes Up Augusta, where students put their skills you can't find on their resume to the test.
Held eye contact as best as I could, but I would look off then and there like I am now, because I'm trying to think. I had to practice firm handshaking because I'm not used to shaking people in, so my brother, he kind of helped me with that.
Dr. Cherie Murray says Michaela's goal to leave a lasting impression is what landed her as the winner.
Looking for the communication skills were at a level to where they should be at their age. Give me eye contact, hold a conversation.
Preparing Michaela and her classmates for anything that comes their way.
We live in a society where everyone's looking down at their phones, and so learning that skill of eye contact. And for those nervous people, let's look at the nose, and just those essential tools in their toolbox to get them where they need to go. It's something that we don't often put a high focus on, but it's really the thing that gets you in the door.
Reporting in Augusta, Hallie Turner on your side.
On your sideline, sports brought to you by the Hawk Law Group.
Good evening, everyone. It's been an exciting past couple of weeks of playoff action for many of our local high school basketball teams. And while most of the teams have already been sent home, there are some who are not ready to pack up their bags and clean out their lockers just yet. The Josie Lady Eagles are the last girls basketball team in Augusta still standing, and their next test is in the state semifinals. The Lady Eagles say they take pride in living in Augusta, where there's such a rich tradition when it comes to balling out on the court. The seniors on this year's team say they want to keep that winning tradition going as they close out their high school careers.
I just want to keep working hard in practice, get the job done tomorrow so we can win state on Thursday. Because, this could very easily be my last high school game, my last basketball game ever. I transferred, so it's like I got to prove something that I ain't transferred for nothing. I'm really came to get me a ring. To end my season off good on my 12th grade year.
The Lady Eagles can punch their ticket to state when they take on Banks County tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock. Now, this Class 2A state semifinal will be played at Georgia College and State University in Milledgeville. Let's keep the Augusta basketball theme going with the Cross Creek boys basketball team, and they're playing in the Class 3A State Final Four tonight. The two-time defending state champions will look to keep their dreams of a three-peat alive when they take on the Sandy Creek Patriots. The opening tip is scheduled for 8 o'clock this evening at Fort Valley State University.
All right, thanks for that, Dan. We just got confirmation that a tree did come down in Burnettown in Aiken County. It looks like it actually did come down on a home. So I want to make sure you are staying weather-aware for the rest of this evening and to tonight. Another quick update for you just after the break.
Thanks for watching News 12 on your side.
In South Carolina, we're
on this Friday night,
A long overdue salute for this Vietnam War veteran who risked his life to save others. Why it took decades for retired Colonel Paris Davis to be awarded the Medal of Honor. That's tonight on the CBS Evening News.
Well, here's a live look outside of our building, and most flags across the region are looking just like this, basically parallel with the ground. We do have sustained winds over 15 miles an hour right now here in Augusta, and gusts are actually close to 30. We're expecting winds to actually increase a little bit as we do head into later this evening, and once those storms do get a little bit closer. There's a look at a decent-sized pine tree that did come down on the south side of Augusta, just off Green Meadows Drive and Eagle Drive earlier today, just a couple of hours ago. We got confirmation of another tree that came down in Burnett Town, there in Aiken County, and this actually did fall on a home. So if you do live next to any very weak trees that could come down easily, make sure you are staying weather aware as this line does get closer towards us. Luckily, not much in the way of warnings with this line that's about to impact us here locally over the next several hours, but it is still producing some heavy rain, few strikes of lightning, and once again, those wind gusts may not turn severe, but they'll still be anywhere from around 40, 45 miles an hour at times, enough to bring down trees like we've seen so far today. Now, luckily for the rest of the weekend, we're back to sunshine, high temps hitting the 70s.
And we'll be tracking that line as it moves closer to our area. In fact, our next live update comes at 7 o'clock over on NBC 26.
Then we'll see you back here tonight for more news at 11.